Your previous night had ended with the bishop saying he would find you a coterie haven. But upon further thought, you decided to take it upon yourself to find your own area, perhaps not wanting to have a favor with the bishop for finding you something. What location did Shinti find?
Something in the slums, as much as possible. Basically, the parts of town where you can just tell that crime and everything else is frequent enough that the police are just, if they do show up, it's going to be hour and a half response time, that kind of situation. Nice rundown location that appeared to be abandoned, but still able to be secured well enough to serve as a functional dwelling.
And you're able to find one. It is on a street with a bunch of other abandoned buildings. Doesn't look like anybody's lived down here for the past 5 or so years. It is the one house on the block that looks to be still functional enough to live in, and you're able to get in there and make it your home for the night. And as you awaken, go ahead and make me your rouse check.
Absolutely. That's a success.
Excellent. You're still at Hunger One?
Yep, since I haven't found a suitable murderer recently, I'm going to have to hit up
Excellent.
my contact and possibly get some good food.
Excellent. You awaken in I'm assuming the bathtub area, where you have spent the entire night or the day, uh, in a corpse-like state. Um, you are able to go and do whatever you would like currently.
Go ahead and do his general nightly ritual of getting himself back together, dusting the dirt off of himself from what he places down in the tub to sleep in to sate his dragon blood. Um, and once he's finally taken some time to piece himself together, he'll give it a little bit, since it would be still early enough in the evening, as he does have a fairly high path rating. Um, Maybe actually take a moment to get some more work done around what will become the communal haven. Start working on finding some things to board up windows and stuff like that, just to secure it off a little bit more. It'll still be a big fixer upper project, but get a little bit of legwork in. And then after a couple hours have gone by, he'd probably start getting antsy to check in on the local prospects again. Um, since he's not necessarily in the hugest rush in the world, knowing that he's going to have to just kind of take his time to sway some already existing kindred over to the cause. Uh, he's just going to kind of casually swing over to the bar that Amanda worked at, just to see if by chance she happens to be working tonight or if any of the others come in, since they had been spending a bit of time together from what it looked like when he last departed them.
Go ahead and make me two separate rolls, one for the house, either dexterity and craft, or I'll even say no, dexterity and craft. You're making something.
Very well and fair. Uh, two successes.
Two successes. Okay. Fixing up the house is going to be your project, so I'm going to let you accumulate rolls as you continuously do work on it. And then make me a wits and awareness as you enter the building.
Three successes.
3 successes. As you enter the bar, it is not as busy as it was the first night you were in here. It appears to have hit the kind of the slump. It's either it's very early in the evening for people to go out, or it's just not a busy night at this location. At the one table, as soon as you enter to your left, you do see a familiar redheaded man that you had seen the other night. Appears to be working on his laptop. He pays you the briefest of glances as you enter. He has a pint of beer on the table with him and just kind of doesn't seem to pay you any attention. Joe and Amanda, are you here at the bar?
I think so. I mean, I assume Amanda would be. Joe probably is back and forth, trying not to lurk, linger, be a distraction, just like pops in every once in a while.
Okay, good. Go ahead and make me your rouse checks for tonight.
That's a pass for me.
Yay.
Fail for me.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so Amanda's definitely working tonight. It's one of those odd nights where she's actually like waiting tables and like moving around the room instead of being stuck behind the bar. And so she's moving around. She sees Joe. She's the one that brought the redheaded guy sitting with his laptop. She's the one that brought him the beer. And just sort of going through the motions of waiting tables on a not so busy evening.
Shinty, you do see both of them as you enter the bar. Joe is where would Joe have been posted up?
She's sort of doing her normal people watching routine, so kind of towards the back, wherever has a close vantage site. She's been trying not to bother the redhead despite her intense curiosity. That may change in a moment.
But Shinty, you do see both of them here. Amanda's running in between tables and Joe's sitting in the back people watching. You are free to interact how you wish.
Well, Shinty will obviously clock both of them. He's going to go ahead and kind of just start generally meandering around the bar area. If a bartender comes over, he'll go ahead and actually order a drink. Just kind of absently, not really interested in drinking it, but happy to put on appearances for the time being. He's also going to take an opportunity to check out the other patrons in the bar this evening.
Okay, what are you looking for?
Just general vibe check on who else happens to be there outside of the obvious kindred and kindred adjacent individuals that are in the location this evening and always seem to be populating this bar in town.
Go ahead and make me a wits and insight. Joe, you can do the same as you are also people watching.
Nice for me. That's going to be 6 successes with a crit.
That's 4 successes for me.
Joe, the man at the bar, or the redhead at the table you have met the previous night, so you know exactly who he is. You didn't get to talk to him for very long. As for people at the bar, not the usual crowd that you had seen the other night, so there's no frat boys, maybe a couple people who look like they got off work and just decided to go for a drink. There's a couple that looks like they're bar hopping and stopped in for quick drink before they're moving on. You're not picking up anything unusual from any of them. Just an average night. Looks a bit slow. Shinti, you notice the same. The couple looks like maybe they're not having the best of night with your crit. Looks like maybe they've been arguing a little bit, just judging by their body language towards each other. But overall, again, just looks like two kindred and one kindred adjacent individual.
Interesting or bland evening, depending upon how you want to take that, I suppose. Shinti will go ahead and make his way over to... Does the bar have, like, a jukebox or anything like that?
Amanda, does the bar have a jukebox?
No.
It's a little old-fashioned, but...
Yeah, it's not. It's a little bit classier than that kind of, like, it's not like a pool hall
Okay.
kind of bar. It's just like a little bit classier. Like, it's got like some music like playing like underneath everything, just sort of nondescript alt rock radio where it's just a little bit cooler than like normal, but still very palatable to most.
Fair. In that case, he'll go ahead and just make his way over to a corner table, kind of just post up in a chair and kick back and just kind of observe the bar. Mainly keeping an eye on the most interesting individuals in the room, being the kindred and kindred adjacent individuals, but occasionally taking a peek over at the couple who seem to be slightly distraught this evening, just to see if their situation is getting any worse as it goes along.
Amanda, you do see Shinti sits down at a table. Joe, you as well see that he sits down. The redheaded man, Joe, with your 4 successes, you do see that again when Shinti walks by, he kind of is like following him with his eyes a little bit, and then when he sees he sits down farther away, looks back at his computer.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm gonna notice that the other person who's working the floor with me, I guess that's who Shinti ordered the drink from. When it pops up at the well, I'm gonna pick it up and take it over and say, "Here's your drink. What are you doing here?"
Kind of lets his eyes slowly look Amanda up and down, and then over to Joe and over to the redhead. Seems like the most interesting hangout in town past few nights. Why wouldn't I come here?
I mean, it's kind of boring, right? I mean, don't you have better, more interesting world altering things to be doing than hanging out at this weird little bar?
Maybe I am working on that. Maybe I'm taking a furlough. We do have eternity after all. Things pace out a little slower than what our palates might have been originally used to.
I mean, it just seems like, I guess, but it also just seems like we waste so much time just sleeping, you know? Seems like when you're awake, you just got to do it all at once, right?
A bit. But again, I'm not the one bussing tables this evening.
Fair point. I don't know. Just y'all gotta make a living somehow, right?
There's other creative ways to deal with those problems. He'll reach into his coat pocket and toss a bit of cash down onto the table for the drink. I certainly didn't pick that up at my 9 to 5.
No, I imagine not. But what did it cost you?
What does anything cost any of us? We're already damned, so they say.
Yeah, but do we have to be? And can't you just go on doing this? Like, you don't have to be worse, right?
Oh. Yes and no. It's complicated. None of it really is so easily black and white and definable that way. There's more nuance to all of it. But don't let me keep you tied up.
Everything is so complicated. Especially for something to be easy for just once, man. Enjoy.
You're in the wrong line of work for that.
I don't even know what line of work I'm in anymore some days.
Cindy's going to go ahead and blush of life. And I did pass the rouse check, so staying it's still at hunger 1, and he'll take a sip off the drink.
Show him. No,
Just water.
I'll go. I'll leave him to pretending to drink the whiskey or really drinking the whiskey, and go about pretending to work a little bit more.
Able to do so. Shindy, you do see the couple leaves. Well, probably after about 20 minutes. Things still appear a little frosty between them, but it's thawing out. Looks like whatever they had a little scuffle about, it's not lasting too long. Joe, as you see them leave as well. Amanda, they do leave you a decent tip. So there's good news there. You get about $20 tip, sitting underneath one of the cups. After a few minutes, you do see the redhead starts to pack up some of his stuff. He's got his messenger bag on the chair next to him, and it looks like he's closing his laptop and putting it back in his bag.
Joe's not one to let an opportunity slip by her, so she's as casually as she can going to slide out of her chair and move over to his table before he can leave.
You're able to do so. He does look up when you join, little bit of a quirk of the brows for a moment. Oh, well, hello again.
Hello again.
Usual place of yours?
More of a recent acquisition. I'm friends with the bartender.
Oh, that's interesting. I thought, from the look of things, you might have been friends with. And he points at Shinty's direction.
Joe doesn't even look back over her shoulder. She just knows. Kind of. No, that's not the word. I would. She leans a little closer. Do you know him? On the topic.
In passing, I met him the other night.
So you're not well acquainted.
Not super. He showed up and I was, I don't want to say kicked out, but it was kind of like they kicked me out. Well, he didn't kick me out. He couldn't kick me out. Our mutual friend kicked me out.
I see. You work for the same people.
Uh, yeah. More help out.
But it's always good to have a bit of help.
It is. Although I don't think your friend was too keen on any of my offers the other night.
Oh, Sal, that's actually why I came over here. You see, I know I wasn't in there for very long, but I did catch enough of the conversation to be able to feel my way through the dynamic that was forming. And I should apologize that Sal tends to be a little bit prickly.
Prickly's an understatement. I'd say he's the whole cactus bush.
At times, he certainly can be. But that's what I'm here for.
Oh,
Smooth out any crinkles that might have been formed.
Oh, well, glad to know I should have met with you instead. You do seem to be the more reasonable one.
That is generally the case, but he likes to do the first meeting face to face just to get a feel of people.
Yeah, I think he got the wrong feeling for me.
Most likely.
But he seemed keen at least for the money. So, there's that. I hear circuses do cost an arm and a leg now.
Well, and they're not as popular as they used to be, so they don't quite bring in the same revenue as they used to.
Have you guys ever thought of like getting into streaming? Like maybe stream your acts online?
It's been suggested a time or two. And
Could
it's
try-
not that we're reticent towards it, but it's more trying to figure out the logistics.
Oh. Well, I mean, all you really need is a really good investor and um right technical capabilities. It's not really that hard. I occasionally dabble in streaming. It's not my usual forte, but I know some people.
What is your usual forte?
Pop-up parties tend to. I'm more on the underground rave scene. Throw a party, let some people have a good time. Also tends to work out for the nocturnal crowd.
But I can certainly see how your business and my business might be able to collaborate there.
I do like that idea. Throw a little bit more pizzazz. I already have to compete with a couple of other people in the industry.
Do the other people in the industry have a fire breather on retainer?
I don't think Miss Ash does.
I can definitely supply that for you. I tell you, it is a draw.
I believe it is, and I might hit you up about it. I'm actually having one in a couple of days on Friday. Kind of little combination of my business and my friend's business meeting up, but a fire breather might be nice and surprising.
Yeah,
Kinda.
I can certainly supply whatever entertainment you need.
Well, I don't want to keep you tonight since I know how valuable your guys' night hours are. And he reaches into his coat pocket to pull out a card, and hands it over to you. How about we meet tomorrow? Go over a little.
I think that sounds fantastic. Joe also reaches into her clutch and pulls out a business card that is shaped like one of the ticket stubs from the circus on the front.
Mhm.
And on the back, it has just her name and her phone number on it.
Well, Miss Joe, I do enjoy prospect of business. Maybe your bartender friend might be interested in it.
What I can tell, she enjoys a party. I can certainly ask if she'd like to come along Friday.
I wouldn't mind if you have any other friends, them coming along as well.
You know, I have one friend that I think, it sounds like the sort of thing she'd like, but I'd have to check in. But I think she'd be quite a draw for you.
Oh, we got a celebrity.
I don't want to use the word minor, but I also don't quite understand the field of celebrity she's in, so I can't quite judge.
Any eyes are helpful. Well, maybe I can, when I meet with you, I can meet with her as well. I know
Absolutely.
they usually charge a fee for promotionals, and I'm okay with that.
I'll inquire what that fee is for you then.
Excellent. Well, I will let you get back to your evening. He does look down at his phone again, unfortunately being summoned.
Such is life, isn't it?
Such it is. I'm just hoping it's a good summon and not a.
Dire summon.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to getting yelled at or worse. Good evening,
Sounds
Miss
like
Jo.
you might need to find a new boss.
He does like lower his voice a little bit when he leans over to you. Kind of hard. My family's been tied to him for some time.
Yeah. What's with breaking with tradition a little bit now and then?
It is when there's a prospect of being turned into a couch.
Well, that's a fair point. Fair point.
Yeah, if I'm going to be furniture, I'm accepting a dining table, no less.
Oh, the comments that I can make, but I'm going to let you leave instead of making any of them.
Well, you might have to let me know another night then.
But
He does.
so their own.
You know, Ron's not bad, but I don't work for a blue blood, so I don't think he's gonna go for that. I'd be lucky to make it out as a surgical tool bag.
Oh, darling, I wasn't talking about him.
You see for a moment he pauses as he's putting his notebook back in his bag, and you do see the tips of his ears turn a little scarlet. He goes, keep that in mind, Miss Jo. You have a wonderful night.
Was that?
You do see he gives Shinty like one last like across the room like little squinted eyed stare before leaving.
Joe's going to take the empty glasses up to the bar to Amanda. Just try to be helpful.
You know you don't work here. You don't have to do this.
No, but it makes your life easier, so I'm going to do it.
Oh, I mean, why do you want to make my life easier? I mean, we already kind of have a lot, and I still really haven't quite figured out why, other than, I guess we're kind of related is such a weird term, but I can't think of anything better.
It's a more frequently used terminology than you might expect. But let's just say it's in my nature.
Well, thank you.
And Joe, the tip that Elliot left, Joe just sticks it into Amanda's apron.
Amanda, he is a very generous tipper.
Nice. I kind of see like the money fold, and I kind of like briefly like do a little bit of math as it disappears into the apron. You didn't steal any of it, did you?
I have a job. I don't need your money. Make plenty of my own. Which, to that point, I was doing a little bit of math this morning. And I'm not too sure if maybe you wouldn't be slightly more well off and slightly less annoyed with other people in general, if you didn't maybe come work for me?
I mean, I don't know if anything is going to make me not be annoyed with other people, but not dealing with them so directly.
No, I can fairly well assure that unless you want to be a caller or security or something of that nature, you probably won't be working with a face forward position. My concern, in the interest of full disclosure here, is that I'm likely only going to be in town for a couple more weeks, and I think there are things that you probably still want to know. Things that maybe someone who lived through them might be better off telling you. So my decision is to either stay here or to bring you with me. And I thought to myself, why don't you maybe just spend the winter with us and see if you like it? We're going to Mexico, if that sweetens the pot.
I mean, Mexico, yeah. Like, of course I want to go to Mexico, but you know, I've got my ex and my kid, and and Amanda's just kind of stumbling over these excuses and looking at, you know, the wood paneling of the bar and that like sickly sweet, like old beer yeasty smell that just sort of permeates the place. And the Sinti sitting over in the corner, and you know, Joe standing right in front of her, and the ceiling just feels like it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and crushing her, and the empty tables, and yeah. What I can fuck it. I want to go to Mexico.
I can say two things for you. You won't have to worry about where you're going to sleep, and you won't have to worry about where you're going to eat, because that is all handled within the confines of the business. And believe me when I say we can get you anything you like. It's sort of what we do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what? I'm not that smart, but I'm not stupid. Like, yeah, I start untying my apron. I fish all of the cash
Take your
out,
money.
stuff that's mine and the stuff that isn't, and shove it into the back pocket of my jean shorts. And I am going to do like the really high, like wolf whistle kind of thing, and say, "Hey, tall, dark, and weird, we're leaving." Across the bar, and I turn to the other bartender and say, "Yeah, man, I'm out. It's been nice." And walk out the door, and I'm gonna take one of the 20s that probably Elliot left, and put it in the hand of my my buddy, the bouncer, and say, "Man, you were a real one. Thanks. Don't."
Wait. Are you quitting?
I'm quitting. I'm out.
Good for you. Run out of this place while you can.
Right?
Got a whole world ahead of you. What are you gonna do?
I think I'm going to Mexico.
Oh man, don't go to Cabo. It's overrated.
No, we're not going anywhere so nice.
Good, but also okay. Have fun. Don't do too many things that I wouldn't do, and do all of the things that I would.
I think I'm gonna go live authentically, you know?
It's a good plan. It's a good
Yeah.
plan. I wish you well, kid.
Thanks. You're better than this place too, you know?
Yeah, but I get paid to stand here.
I can
Yeah.
pay you to stand around too.
What line of work is she in?
Circus. I'm right
No.
away to join the circus.
You enjoy the circus. I got a wife and kids.
Pity.
If I ever get divorced, I'll let you know.
Hey, you know, I hear the circus is always recruiting. If we come back in town, I'll look you up.
That's good. That's good. Well, you get on out of here. Don't spend another moment of your time here.
All right.
Joe just loops her arm with Amanda's and takes her back towards the van. So the first thing we have to do is we have a caravan that you can use, but the first thing we have to do is we have to make it yours. We can spend this time doing a little bit of shopping. Maybe we can ask Taryn for help. It sounds like the sort of thing that she'd like.
Yeah, I think she would. I'm gonna pull up my phone and text Taryn. I'm like, how do you feel about interior design?
Taryn, your night last night did not go according to plan when you went to the bar. It happened. You unfortunately happened to run into Isaiah there, and he was his usual level of charming and swarmy. It's a delicate line. He manages to find the line between the two. But tonight, however, you have decided to go somewhere more your taste.
Yes, I have. Because I've been going to shit dive bars for the past however many nights that I've been out with these assholes. And I want to go someplace classy.
You do find a very upscale club called the Ivy that is glittery and perfect, and you're sure people know exactly who you are there. The music's on point tonight. Lights are flashing. Go ahead and make me your rouse check, though. Let's see if you get any hungrier.
That is a crit success.
Excellent. No, you are entirely in your zone. What is Taryn doing at the club?
Taryn is, as always, people watching and networking. Lots of networking, taking lots of selfies, and just kind of getting her name out there, posting a lot on Twitter and whatever else, showing that she's out and about and living the high life, being a influencer, doing influencer things.
While you are networking, you do meet someone who is up and coming, who is excited to take a photo with you, and you do get the shout outs and all the likes flooding in that you're out, you're having a good time. Your usual favorite fan is, of course, as always, in the comments telling you, you look beautiful, you look wonderful, they hope you have a wonderful night. But in the midst of all of this, go ahead and make me a wits and awareness roll.
One of these days I'm gonna remember how much that's use point willpower to not suck so bad. That roll. Oh wait, shit! I can't re-roll hunger dice for that.
Nope, not the hunger dice. Just the normal dice.
Is it worth using a willpower to only re-roll one dice? No. Nope, sure isn't. So 2 successes.
2 successes. You are in your element, however. The club is a natural fit for you. And as you're scanning through the elegantly dressed people, girls in glittery dresses and high heels, and men looking their best in fashionable men's wear, they're not all dressed like.
It's like the Oscars. It's like, ooh, wow, another suit.
Another suit, exactly. While the sea of men in their more modern suits, your eye does clock somebody who is looking a bit older. 3-piece suit, at the bar, kind of looking around, but you do realize he keeps putting his eyes back towards where you are.
Okay. I continue like floating around and like dancing a little bit and accepting drinks from people and then not drinking them and just kind of handing them off to waiters walking by, sort of thing. A game that I perfected long before ever being embraced.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep an eye on this guy the whole time. And when I realize that he's not making any move to approach me and he's just watching me, I am going to walk up to him and I'm just going to lean against the bar next to him and like eye contact the whole time. Like as soon as I start walking up to him, never breaking eye contact.
He gets what looks like a little bit of a smirk on his face as you walk closer. He does straighten up when you approach him. And he is a tall man, short dark hair, dark eyes. And as you're approaching the suit, you can tell, while looking out of fashion a little bit, more towards a vintage look, is however well made. Like he's put in an effort into buying a good suit. Like it looks very nice. The jewelry, he's got a ring on one of his hands. Again, you can tell is good quality. Like he's doing a more subtle elegance than most of the other men in the bar, which are kind of flashy. But he does smile and, "Good evening, Miss Taryn."
Did anyone ever teach you that it's rude to stare?
I have been told. However, I didn't wish to approach. You appear to be having a wonderful time, and I didn't want to interrupt it.
Didn't stop anyone else from approaching me. I'm kind of used to being approached.
Well, perhaps I will take note of that. I'm not too, and you do see as he's like looking around, he does squint a little bit at the lights. Not exactly in my element tonight.
I get that impression. You have me at a disadvantage. Clearly you know who I am, which, again, not unused to. You are...
Isidore Salinas. Not a member of the garden, so to speak.
Well, it's a shame with
Oh, I appreciate the kindness, but unfortunately, I do know two people who are very similar who have already ridiculed me 6 ways already this evening.
No, I mean this sincerely. It is not to my taste. However, I can appreciate a well-made garment.
That, however, is very kind. I do not wish to pry, but are you enjoying your evening?
Enjoy is such an interesting word. I am enjoying my surroundings better than I have of late. And I am enjoying being in control. As I said, I seem to be, well, I know what I'm doing.
It is glad to hear that. I did not think dive bars were your thing.
Whatever gave you that.
I myself do not appreciate any dive bars as well, but I always seem to find myself, unfortunately, drugged to the places I do not like to be.
And if you know that I've been in dive bars, then clearly you know even more about me than I previously knew. So you really do have me at a disadvantage. I trust that based on your obvious discomfort, your interesting apparel, and the fact that you've been watching me for the past, I don't even know how long, that you are not here for leisure and that you have some sort of business to attend to.
I do. Shall we take a walk at least? I promise to not keep you too long.
Sure.
You do see he offers his arm out to you.
And I take it. I very much was like waiting for him to offer it, like kind of like eyeing him up and down, waiting for him to offer an arm.
Very, very gentlemanly, like, lets you take it. As you're heading out of the club, he goes, I do believe we have a mutual friend. Well, I don't know if you will consider him a friend, but I do think we know someone in common, so I was coming to see what the
Tall, dark, and asshole.
he is most difficult. I was going to say more difficult than anything else. But yes, I do believe that is the same person.
Yeah. One of the ones who has been skulking around the dive bars that I've been being dragged to.
That does not surprise me at all. He seems to be the dive bar type.
Mm.
You see, you guys are walking perhaps a block before he knocks on the door to an art gallery, and a guard comes to open it. I thought this would be more private and a bit more suitable.
All right. I should tell you that my history with galleries can be a little fraught, but
I promise you will return to the club in exactly the same style that you left it.
in that case,
And inside this, it is a it's upscale, up and coming artists. The art has a really good price tag on it, and it's quiet in there. The lights are low enough that it doesn't seem to be bothering him. Well, Miss Taryn, since I do have you at a disadvantage, I feel I should answer any questions you have.
who is he?
Who do you know him as?
Donovan, which he gave another name to my other friends, and I didn't even bother to remember it because clearly he's been lying all along. He is not a gangrel, nor is he an Alcavian.
Oh, he's most certainly not that. Fiend? Zamitzi. Very uncommon, at least in this area of town. I heard a rumor on the street is they were all ran out most 20 years ago, give or take.
Wait, they predate me. Not that I'm exactly a old timer in these parts, but I'm not completely useless with my knowledge.
I take it Isaiah has not been as knowledgeable.
No. Well, Isaiah might have plenty of knowledge. I wouldn't really know. Isaiah would prefer to keep me as his pretty little kept thing, his bird in a gilded cage. There is a reason that I have tried to part ways with Isaiah. Amicably.
Well, if he isn't getting the hint, then perhaps a more final severing is required.
You know, I have had that thought. Not. It has happened. It has happened through my mind more than once. Him and others. There are a few loose threads that I would like to tie off.
Well, you are a woman with a definite level of determination, so I am sure those threads can be severed properly.
I should hope so. I mean, if I am going to be unliving, as it were, I have to do something with all this.
His name is Shinti. Yes, I only met him a couple nights ago. He's not.
Is he as old as he seems, or is he just full of shit? Or both?
Oh, most certainly he is old, if not as old as I am. Though I'm not exactly sure. Visual appearances are a bit deceiving with their kind.
Right, with the whole thing.
I know another one who routinely changes his appearance, and it is most distracting most nights. The is not quite my style, but I can see the appeal of being able to look however you want in any given moment.
Yes, me too. It is something I used to take great joy in before.
Well, you and him should have a lot in common then. It does work on kindred, as you guys call it yourselves, so perhaps he is useful in some aspects.
Well, everyone can be useful under the right circumstance. He could be useful to me, you say. Because all I'm getting from him is how he seems to need something from me, though he's not deigned to tell me what it is, just speaks in circles. Hence the full of shit comment.
The old ones tend to do that. It takes a firm occasional knock to get them out of it. I try to keep things as simple as I can. It is tiring of riddles after a while, and I am not a Malkavian either. I do not enjoy riddles nor mind games.
Fair. Malkavians can be fun after I've had a snack or two.
They most certainly are fun. I need small doses. Occasionally, it can be a bit much. But definitely see if he can't help you learn how to do so.
So it can be taught.
Oh, well, any of our gifts can be taught.
See, the things that have been kept from me.
Your sire did not explain that to you.
Well, he told me of the gifts of the Toreador, and I have, of course, worked on those. Is my right. However,
We can learn our gifts from other people. I myself have, and you see he very quickly, almost too quickly, reaches into his pocket to pull his watch, a pocket watch out of. Learned a few things myself. It is all teachable. If he is unwilling, let me know. I have a couple friends who are able to do so.
I would most certainly like to do so. How would I like?
Oh, apologies. You do see he puts the watch back and then reaches into his jacket pocket to pull out. It's a rather old-fashioned card clip. And he pulls out a jet black card and hands it to you.
I take it and kind of flip it over and examine it. What do I see?
With your sense the unseen, you do see a phone number and his name appears on it. It's a humorous little trick. A friend of mine decided to give me these cards, and I still cannot get rid of it. And you flip the card over, and almost jokingly on the back, as you can tell, somebody has been having a good laugh with it. It says on the back of the card something about hold on, let me see. I know I have it here. It jokingly just says, "I'm your problem now," and it's got a little flower underneath it.
Tap it against my mouth, and I'm like, very, very nice. Tuck it inside of my bra. Pull out my card and hand it to him.
He just take it and looks it over.
It's got a big like pink foil embossed lit print of Taryn's lips with her signature through the middle, and then like all of her social media and like for booking information, contact and the contact email and like all of the just like shitload of contact stuff on the back.
Well, I'm not good with a phone, so you might not hear from me directly, but I'll make sure the one who made my card is the one who gets in contact with you. I feel like you two will get on like a house on fire.
What is it that you represent? Since clearly you and this Sinti person seem to run in similar circles. Because that hasn't been made clear to us either.
Oh, well, I'm not sure I can exactly tell you that information.
Privileged information.
It is, but we're also not very popular. Go ahead and make me a charisma and persuasion roll. And if you have any of your pretty dice, add the pretty dice.
Charisma.
We are pro pretty dice. Use your pretty dice.
What in up is a success?
That's 6. 6 is the first success.
Yep. Well, that's gonna be some willpower expenditures. Jeez. Okay. Go. That's more like it. 4 successes.
For a moment, he kind of looks at you a little bit, and then kind of like looks towards the door for a moment, and then leans down a little bit and goes, "How much did Isaiah tell you?"
Not nearly enough to get me through this world. Just enough to keep me under his thumb.
Well, then he must have told you about the, oh, what do they call us? Big bad spooky spot.
Your name might have come up somewhere between the Second Inquisition and Ravnos.
Humans are most troublesome. That's who I work for. That's who I represent. We run in different circles, so not everybody sees eye to eye. We're not as structured as we once were,
Interesting.
but we do offer a sense of freedom.
Benefits
The
package, 401k, dental, vision.
more along the lines of not letting ourselves be held back by anything and crushing those that get in our way.
See, you have my attention. All it takes is a little manners.
It does. I find that manners in this day and age do help. Sadly, my manners are mostly for appearances.
They're getting the job done, aren't they?
They are. I should probably return you to your evening before sun rises. I don't want to take up too much of your fun time in a beautiful building.
Thank you very much for this most enlightening side.
Would you allow me to escort you back to the club? And he does so, gently letting you outside of the club. That's when your phone rings, or bings, and Amanda is texting you about interior design.
I reply, I usually hire an interior designer, but what can I do for you?
I'm running away to join the circus, and I need my caravan decked out. Where are you at? What are you doing?
As we arrive to the bar, I just take, or the club or whatever it is, I take a picture of like the marquee that I'm sure it has, or sign above the door. I don't know. I don't go trendy places.
It in an arch says the Ivy, and it's got like those stylistic leaves coming off of it.
Perfect. I take a picture of that and send it.
I show the text to Joe, saying, I could eat.
I could find it. Shouldn't be too hard. Looks like a big sign.
I mean, I can Google Maps it. It can't be that hard to find.
Easy enough to do.
Are you coming? I look over to Sinti.
Why not?
All right.
Now it's about to get interesting.
Joe, were you driving your van today?
Yes. Yeah.
You guys are able to make it to the club in no time. You are with the help of the map, you're able to get there super quick, around the traffic jam downtown and straight to where the club is. It's in northern Dallas. So you're up in the fancier near University Park area. Anyone who wants to can make me a wits and streetwise or wits and politics roll.
Including me?
Including you. Yes. This is a free for all.
Sweet. Got it. Hunger.
Just
Four
specialty for
successes
bad.
with
Just a specialty for bad neighborhoods apply on this or no?
No.
Okay.
4 successes with a crit for me.
Ooh, 2 successes.
4 successes. No
3
crit.
successes.
Taryn. 3 for Shinty, 4 for Taryn, 2 for Amanda. Amanda, you do know that this is the fancy posh area of town. You are up near where millionaires tend to buy the really expensive fancy houses. So you're like, yeah, this fits Taryn. Shinty, you get about the same. You, however, do know that this area is most likely claimed since this is a cameraless city. Taryn, you know that this area is claimed by a higher member of the Camarilla. Ahjay has always been a little coy about who actually owns it and has never fully explained everything to you. Joe, you know all of that, but you also know, since you are a traveling Ravnos and have to occasionally keep an eye on territory, you know that this is the Seneschal's territory.
Okay. And what did you say he was, the Ravnos?
No, you know that rumor on the street is that you're in a La Sombra's territory.
Oh, okie dokie. Interesting. Excellent.
But
Doesn't
you
bother
guys,
Joe any.
no. It's just one of those maybe not do anything bad up here. Sal will screech and you'll have to hear shouting in Italian.
Well, it's a pity I actually learned Italian. Now I have to know what he's saying.
You guys are able to find a parking spot in the lot across from where the ivy stands, and Taryn is outside waiting on you guys to arrive. She appears to be taking some photos with some fans who saw her and scurried over to get some photos. But you all are together and are able to, and I just turn it over to you.
Joe changes out of her sitting around shoes into potential dancing shoes, just, because it feels like a little nicer. The dress is nice. It's vintage, but it's vintage designer. So she mostly feels prepared to go into this situation, but the shoes have to change. And then she shoves Sinti out of the van.
Yeah, Amanda is absolutely underdressed for a place like this, but I don't care. I'm going anyway. My cuffed jean shorts and ripped black band t-shirt and what I was wearing to work. My very comfortable, very gross bar shoes.
Yeah, I don't think Joe has anything that would fit Amanda. I think that size difference is too differency. Mm-hmm.
Taryn sees what Amanda is wearing and dies a little bit more inside, but knows that there's nothing to be done for it. If there's a doorman, she's just gonna like.
You do see the doorman, like, as you walk in and he lets Joe in, and then he starts to look like he says something, about to say something to Amanda, and you just kind of look back and just give him the look of the raised eyebrows, and he just steps back and lets Amanda and Shinty in.
So I bring them inside and welcome to a place that doesn't suck.
That really remains to be seen, but it is a bit higher quality than we have been frequenting. No offense. Well, I don't actually think that there's any offense to be taken anymore. It's not Amanda's bar anymore.
Congratulations.
I quit.
And you're running away to join the circus.
Yeah, it just feels right.
To each their own. I look over to Shinty. I think we have some things to talk about. Let's go get a table, shall we?
Sounds delightful.
Is there a mezzanine?
You do know that's where the VIP lounge is. Even though this bar is already VIP level, the mezzanine's even more exclusive. You are able to
But I'm gonna try.
you are able to get a table up here without any problem. It is a nice private area, so you're not having to worry about anybody overhearing your conversation. But you do get an excellent view of the dance floor.
Excellent. Great for people watching and general creeping. So I get everybody in, and I will sit on the outside of the bench so I can talk to any people who come by. And I like immediately fix my gaze on Sinti. You've been holding out on me.
Considering that we've only actually really conversed with one another for maybe 30 minutes, yeah, I've got a lot of cards that I can still play at this point.
Well, considering
Don't tend to put my hand right on the table as soon as the drop happens.
you haven't given me any cards, but that's okay. Somebody's given me a boost. Hi, Sinti.
I thought your name was like Donovan or something.
No, not Gangrel either. Or okay, what did he tell you? By the way,
I genuinely don't remember.
Ah.
One of those, I think.
you probably don't even know what they are. It's okay.
I don't, but we're so familiar.
Well, that's good. I look at Joe. He's a dragon.
Oh. Seems this place is unusually full of them. Not this place, but you know that I know what it meant.
Considering the reputation that we have here, yeah, there might be a few of us.
Like I said,
Well, one's as good as another. Doesn't make much difference to me.
you've been holding out. You didn't give me any cards, so I had to get them from somebody else.
No, I've given you a lot more cards than maybe you expect, but
No, I don't think you have, because I talked to somebody with manners, and now I know your name and your clan and who you work for. And I have an idea of what you can do for me. So really, I just need to know what you really need me for. Or really any of us.
Well, I have some suspicions about the second one, but I'd love to hear what answer he gives first.
I've already told you. That answer still hasn't changed. Finding out if y'all are worth any time to begin with. To see if you're receptive to understanding the world that you live in, instead of what's been handed down to you so far.
To see if we're receptive to join this.
To realize that you're in a war, whether you like it or not, with creatures that can compel through the blood in ways that make the little parlor tricks that all of us played with the other night pale in comparison. Horrors that wake up and nearly wipe out an entire bloodline in a week.
Yes, well, but they didn't, did they?
Luck of the draw.
Is it? Was it luck?
Quite.
I don't think it was. I've given that I was there, that I looked the thing in the face. I think I'm probably a little bit more educated on how it happened. Wasn't luck. It was strategy.
Hmm.
So what is this, Shinty? Do you just need little soldiers for your war against whatever it is that you're warring against? And if that's the case, why us? I mean, I don't know about you, but I could not think of 3 more diametrically opposed kindred than the 3 of us. Although you two, I guess you two fit. I mean, you got the clan thing going, you got the circus thing going. It tracks. But
Oh, your bloodline has a long standing with our organization.
my bloodline has a long standing with a lot of organizations.
Amanda seems a little bit lost here. Would it be possible, perhaps, for one of the other of you to speak plainly?
You can't what's a Sabbath, what's a Sabbath, like a religious thing, like a day that we're supposed to all get together or something, what are we,
I mean,
and why is the circus related to this thing?
the circus is the circus related?
Oh, goodness, no.
I just meant you two were in the circus.
I'm still new.
You're joining the circus.
I'm joining the circus.
It counts. It counts. It's Sabbat. They're boogeymen. I mean, we've got a few boogeymen. No one taught you this. So you don't know about all of our boogeymen, but there's the werewolves, and there's the hunters, the Inquisition, and there's the Sabbat. Those are like the big ones. And our friend here is part of the Sabbat.
I mean, you're kind of annoying, but you don't seem like a bad guy. I mean, I wouldn't call you a boogeyman.
I didn't say the individuals were the boogeyman. It's more the organization.
They're a threat to the status quo, essentially. But otherwise, they're like every other organization that's come and gone.
Maybe a little cultier.
Oh, quite a bit cultier.
I don't know.
No, when you throw ritual into a situation, that tends to get a bit weird.
I got an extreme Clips Notes version. It behooved my sire to keep me in the dark about a lot of things. So there are gaps in my knowledge.
I, fortunately, can't say the same thing because it behooves the business to know a little bit about everything.
I know the Spark Notes version, the bedtime stories version.
Truly, there's not much more than that to it. I personally, now, I don't see what the fuss is about. I mean, I see what the fuss is about from a certain perspective when you have someone actively challenging your attempts to reign supreme over the entire society. But you can't do that. Of course, there are going to be people who challenge it. That just makes sense. So why wouldn't someone rise up from whatever to stand in opposition to the nonsense that everyone else has going on?
I mean, everybody.
Not to say. Not to say it's less nonsense, because it all is. But I will allow that he has perhaps a fragment of a point.
Which was that? Sorry, it's really hard to parse his fragments amongst all the
Oh,
bullshit.
the war. It is absolutely a thing that is going to happen. It just really depends on how much you care, or if you even imagine you're still going to be alive by the time it happens.
I mean, if we're gonna be around forever, it seems like we're probably gonna be around when this war thing happens, and
All sorts of things can happen to interrupt the course of forever.
Like-
Again, the werewolves, hunters,
Or one.
fairies,
y'all are
Oh,
fucking with
other
me.
vampires.
No, not fucking with you. Very not fucking with you.
Oh no, fairies are real. We had one of them with the circus for a while. No idea where she went, but that's probably for the best.
Also, like, there's
They like it, the sparkle.
there's also just the general like vampire shit, like being on the wrong side of the sunrise.
Eaten someone you ought not have eaten. For so many reasons. It's not easy. There's some danger to it. But for some, that's what makes it exciting. So that's the point I'm going to allow him. And only that one.
Despite the fact that the last time we talked, the two of you had to sit there and repeatedly tell your friend here about how everything that was coming out of my mouth was true. So it doesn't feel like I'm spouting as many lies as you all like to seem to think that I am.
No, perhaps not. You're just extremely off-putting.
You don't have to be a liar to be full of shit. You know?
It's a fair point.
I just feel like I'm getting hit with a lot of propaganda from a lot of sides right now, and I don't really know who to believe.
None of them.
Most of what being a kindred is, in my experience. It's just all about it.
Easiest route is to believe none of them. Go into it with the assumption that everything you hear is bullshit
Just like you have
until you see proof otherwise.
Speaking of, sense the unseen, since we're in cam territory.
Go ahead and roll me your wits and aspects.
Now that I think about it.
Honestly, fair.
Anybody else who has aspects and wants to roll it can. You can do the thing if you have sense the unseen.
Yep. 4 successes.
4 successes for Taryn.
3.
For Shinty. 3. With your sense the unseen, Taryn, you are fairly certain that you've clocked an Nosferatu down on the dance floor. Kind of off to the side, kind of just people watching.
Sure.
As you do. Shinty, you do see the same thing. They're not the best at obfuscating everything. They're not paying any attention to you, don't appear to have noticed you. Again, they're floor down, enjoying being in the company of normal people. That's about it. Taryn, there may or may not, because you rolled a little higher. One of the people walking out looks like a little party of people. One of them looks a little sparkly. As you see them leave. Again, that's a bit weird. But again, they're leaving. Nothing. No one else up here.
Okay. There's no one up here. Cool.
Mhm.
All right. So, like I said, Shinty, I know how you can help me. Still not sure how I can help you.
It's a good question. I would like to know the answer to that as well.
And don't give me that bullshit, I just want people to be educated nonsense. Because honestly, if it were that, I met somebody tonight who I think I could probably get the information from a lot easier and a lot fewer headaches. And that doesn't sound terrible to me. But you have something I want, and I have something you want. So, I'm in the business of business. I have been for 20 years, even before I became this. Let's make a deal.
Still remains to be seen whether or not any of you have what is actually needed. You might, and he points to Joe.
Well, only by virtue of having been around a little bit longer than the two of them.
No. It's actually your personality, your force of will.
My
See, I might
desire
be-
to not sit around and listen to bullshit all day.
In some ways, yes. Again, it's not so black and white. Like you said, and he'll kind of look over at Taryn. A lot of people just like to think of us as the boogeyman. That's again too much of a whitewash. No organization of kindred out there is so simply defined. You see, the thing about the Sabbat and the ritual of all of it, as you very well know, and he'll look over at Joe at that point, there is ritual in this world that isn't just tradition. Actually does things. The rituals we're known for actually do things. They're not just some religious tradition, as a lot of people like to think, or at least pawn it off as that because it fits the narrative better, to keep people afraid of us, to keep people thinking we're just some little cult. It's not what it is. We've found various means to allow individuals of quite a wide and diverse set of ideologies come together and function as a single unit, as an actual community, striving for the freedom that the movement has given up on, despite all of their grandstanding, and that the tower simply does not want any of us to have. Means to circumvent the blood bond, means to insulate against parlor tricks like what I used on you the other night, means to share our gifts more readily that we have of the blood, means to actually affect change which is why the powers that be in the world have positioned us as the boogeyman. You see, they're not afraid of the movement. That's why they don't need to scare young kindred about them. They're just rabble fighting over scraps. Us, on the other hand, we're an actual threat. We lost our way for a while. You see, I'm not the kind that like to sit around in cities playing the politics game. That's not my shtick. I've spent the last multiple centuries wandering these lands, going from place to place, and being free. Sure, I settle in for a little while here and there as it suits me or suits the interests of my abilities for the greater purpose that we do actually strive towards. See, that's the one thing that we as an organization agree on, that the ancients are real and they are a threat. Now, beyond that, we don't see eye to eye on a lot. But that's the interesting thing about our organization. We actually foster that. What might surprise you about me is, for those of our ilk, I actually guide our kind along those paths to shedding what it means to be a human, because that's not what we are anymore. And in time, that leads to an inevitable conclusion: the beast taking control, severing you from everything that you've tried to build. We've found edicts that allow us to circumnavigate that. In the modern nights, these contemporary days, they're frowned upon publicly by most kindred, but the dirty little secret that they wouldn't have you know in the tower is that once you get up into individuals who have lived for a few centuries, maybe a millennia, they tend to have shed their humanity as well. It was commonplace for us back in the day, before the Masquerade, before the Camarilla, before the Ivory Tower and their laws that even the movement still generally adhere to. Back when we were free to be the creatures that we are. So yes, I wager, if you're actually potentially ready for it and have the actual stomach for it, because it is not for the faint of heart. Unfortunately, if you do join our organization, you would have to accept that there is a war and that you have a place in it, not just try to sit on the sidelines. However, through that can come family, a sense of it that is unparalleled to anything else within kindred society, can come purpose, and can come an ability to actually affect change. And a lot of little fringe benefits along the way that tend to interest a lot of folks. But again, if you're not actually up to it, and that's what I'm trying to understand about all of you, is if you are actually up to it, you don't actually serve me any use. So for the time being, yes, I just want you to be more educated, because a more educated population, whether you're Sabbat or not, is still a problem for the powers that be. It still weakens their stranglehold on all of our lives. Even if you just take a slightly more active stance among the anarchs, it still helps us. And that's all some can stomach. Because they aren't ready for what could be an eternity of fighting. It's certainly been going on for centuries now.
It was a lovely, truly a lovely, compelling, might actually be the most interesting thing you've said since we've met. But in the interest of giving a counter to the Sabbat propaganda, Taryn, I could find you someone who could do the same thing for you. He could. And it wouldn't be as hard as squeezing blood from a stone like it is with him.
You can find someone who can help with the
Oh,
blood as well.
it would take me a couple of months, a few phone calls.
And then you
Right, I
drink the
reckon if
blood of
you-
the individual who is going to teach those gifts, because gifts that do not belong to our bloodline must be learned through the blood. And as we all know, that institutes a blood bond amongst our kind. So you can sell your soul to learn gifts and play that risk.
I have no interest in another blood bond. I have played that game and I have lost that game. I do not want a blood bond. I would, in fact, love to find out how I can stop that from happening. Any path that removes another level of Isaiah's control over me is a path I am willing to undertake.
And I suppose that's fair enough.
Any path that may remove Isaiah from the equation. Please.
There's good news and bad news about that. The good news is that I'm being completely honest with you. Can shatter any existing blood bonds that you might have,
And the
but what you're replacing it with is in some ways more the same, but weaker. You see, the simple version of it, I say simple because, as we discussed, looking over at Joe, there's legitimate ritual to what has to happen with this. But the simple version of it is multiple kindred put their blood into a single vessel, a little bit of that real magic that exists in the world is done, and that concoction will allow you to form something like a blood bond between multiple individuals.
So the Sabbat are into polygamy.
I wouldn't really call it polygamy. You see, it's not a blood bond like the actual blood bond that everyone experienced when they were first turned, and you first sucked from your sire's wrist. Now, if they stuck around for you, and you weren't abandoned, you started this life already compelled towards them. Almost a sense of, some kindred like to call it love. There's this actual practice amongst some kindred to try to ward against the blood bond where they call it a blood wedding. And two kindred will willingly bond themselves to one another to ward off bonds from anyone else. But those feelings that it produces, those disgusting, corrupt feelings that it produces, a cheap facsimile of love, it's not the same.
No.
You see, we even practice something amongst our kind where, should it be necessary, when squabbles happen amongst two kindred that just can't be decided readily, instead of squabbling for hundreds of years and causing problems for everyone else, we have a practice called monomacy, where the two kindred will square off, and whichever one's still standing at the end is clearly the one in the right. We can kill those with whom we're bonded to. I've shared a bond with individuals you've met, some of whom I find to be assholes, and they find me to be an asshole right back.
Wow.
But here's the thing. They're our asshole. And until such time as that actually becomes a legitimate problem, they have the rest of us at their back, ready to protect them like family. And sure, families squabble. They don't see eye to eye all the time. But that companionship is there. Something that's distinctly lacking amongst many other kindred. The other common idea of trying to achieve freedom is to just go it alone. But that's an eternity of isolation. Sure, it's a choice. Doesn't seem great compared to the alternative. So again, it's a little bit of good and bad. It still sort of is a blood bond, but it's not the kind that really imposes anything upon you. It makes you willing to tolerate your peers a little bit more. Be a little bit more willing to spend regular time around one another.
And it's not a gilded cage, as they so often are. 'Cause I've had enough of those.
Certainly is its own form of cage. Bit less shiny though.
I suspect existence in and of itself is a bit of a cage, especially with what I've seen in my time since leaving the mortal world.
Amanda, did you have a question about all of our pages?
I mean, it doesn't seem that much worse than, terrible family that you're forced to put up with at holidays. But if there is an actual war against terrible, awful things, then maybe it's worth fighting against them.
Again, just to provide the alternate perspective here, there are other ways to fight. There are other ways to learn. And yes, you'd have to bond with someone for a short period of time to get the talents. A week or two, 3 maybe. But it's a business transaction. Money's being exchanged. They go away when you tell them to go away.
Would that I could only bond with someone for a week or two.
You don't have to be around them. I've learned plenty of things without actually having to be around the people I'm learning them from. I'm telling you, all I want here is for you to realize that this isn't the only option, and to make an informed decision when you make one.
I don't believe that it's the only option. It is unfortunately one of the best looking ones that I've seen in a long time. It's just rather unfortunate that it comes wrapped up in this.
It doesn't have to be this package.
I mean,
I was going to say, Taryn and I might have to have an interesting private conversation about that later, but it certainly doesn't have to come in this package. I may have found another one.
I think running away with the circus might be bad for my health.
It has nothing to do with the circus. Nothing to do with the circus at all. In fact, I think the other alternate is right here in the city.
Interesting.
Now, in the interest of disclosure, again, of course, I want you to be able to make an informed decision, but for my own selfish purposes here, I have absolutely no interest in ever sharing anything that even resembles a bond with him. So,
Can understand that.
and I'm quite happy with the situation that I have now as his.
That must be nice.
Well, it's boring and it can be annoying from time to time, but
So that's not much different than mortal life, then, is it?
no.
It's a pity.
What is?
Like I said, you have potential.
Oh, I'm well aware of what my potential is. But here's the thing. Since we're being honest with one another now, I'm not here to be useful for you. I'm not here to work for you. And that's where we run into a little bit of a hiccup.
You seem to have an incorrect view of what I do.
No, it's not about what you do, it's about who you are. I don't have anything against your organization, against what you
You also
do.
know nothing about me.
No,
You've
but I
had
know.
a 30-minute conversation with me before tonight. You know,
And I know the impression you leave. So unless this is all some elaborate facade, not interested.
See, Shinti, your problem is you try so hard to be the cleverest man in the group. When really, a little bit of forthrightness and politeness goes so much further. Look at how much progress we've made just today, just from me letting you know that I know.
and it's the second conversation I've had with you where, other than my name and clan, I've been nothing but honest and forthright.
But what you're failing to understand here is that none of us really know why you would lie about something so trivial. So if you would lie about your name and clan.
Because, as we already discussed, my clan isn't welcome in this city. For many reasons. Historic bullshit.
Doesn't make any difference to me.
Maybe to you, but I didn't approach you alone. I approached you amongst others. Others who, and he'll look at Taryn, self-admit that they've been told the stories of the boogeyman. So I can't quite come out and just put that on the table now, can I, ladies? No, I have to test the water and see what your thoughts are about the whole system that you've been placed into.
And by testing the water, you've churned up all the muck at the bottom. And now it's so murky that we can't see.
Yes, as I expected. You see, you wouldn't be worth my time if that weren't the case.
Unfortunately, I don't intend to be worth your time at all. Again, I'm not here to provide a service for you.
And again, you wouldn't be.
Well, then
That's
stop
not my
phrasing it like
role.
that. Maybe say what you actually mean instead of phrasing it like how you can serve me. Ridiculous.
I didn't say how you could serve me. That's you
Yeah,
putting words into my mouth.
In any case, speak plainly. It's not about us serving you. Which, when I say that out loud, that is. If that's not what it's about, and I am trying to give you the benefit of the doubt here, Sinti, explain to us what it is.
The exact opposite. It's about me serving you.
And I think at that point we'll end tonight's episode.